Good afternoon and welcome to the 4 to 5. I'm Chad Silber here with Tim Buckley and Lauren Coleman. Nice to see you today.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. But what's not so nice is this weather that we're going to be seeing.
Yeah, it's a little dreary today with some clouds and showers, but a little concerning tomorrow. We really could have some high winds and also some morning storms. So we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes about what we're facing.
Alrighty.
Looking forward to it. All right, let's get to the big story we are following this afternoon. New information about the teenager accused of shooting himself at Forsyth Tech yesterday, prompting an hours-long lockdown. This is Sha'nnon Pitts leaving court today. You can see his hand is in a bandage there.
WFNY News 2's Amber Lake has more on what happened in court and what the Forsyth County Sheriff is saying about this incident. Amber.
Court documents say high school student Sha'nnon Pitts fired a homemade 9mm semi-automatic pistol, also known as a ghost gun, inside of a bathroom at Forsyth Tech. He's now facing several charges. Winston-Salem police charged Sha'nnon Pitts with 2 felony charges of having a gun on educational property, as well as a misdemeanor charge of carrying a concealed gun. Investigators said Pitts is a student at Winston-Salem Prep and was visiting Forsyth Tech on a school field trip. Charges allege he had the gun at his high school before arriving at the community college. Forsyth Tech was locked down as soon as the gun went off, and students sheltered in place for hours. Forsyth County Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough says he was relieved when he found the situation yesterday was not an active shooter, but says we need to do better as a community.
Kids shouldn't have to experience that. I mean, you take their innocence away, you know. So to me, I have a lot of mixed emotions about what's happening in our society. A lot of them, a lot of mixed emotions.
Students on Forsyth Tech's campus also had mixed emotions.
It really was a very scary experience at the time that we didn't really know what was happening. Like, we're all relieved to know now that it wasn't like an active shooter situation, but because we didn't know at the time, it was really, really terrifying.
Police said Pitts went to the hospital after the shooting for treatment and bonded out on pretrial release. He's set to be back in court in 2 weeks. Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools says it cannot comment on any disciplinary matters.
Just days after the mass shooting at the Nashville Covenant School, makeshift memorials continue to grow in honor of the 6 victims. Families are now starting to come together for their funerals to lay their loved ones to rest. Mourning takes a new shape as students say enough is enough. Taking that message to lawmakers inside the Capitol, hundreds rallied today for an end to school shootings.
Another big local story we are following today, that 6-year-old boy hit by a car yesterday while boarding a school bus. Troopers said the Stokesdale boy is still in critical condition, but doctors now say they're encouraged he'll make a full recovery. State troopers say James Chrisman hit the boy when he didn't stop for the bus's flashing lights or stop arm. At this point, he's charged with a couple minor crimes, but could still face felony charges.
Let's go over the rules of the road for school bus stop arms. If you're driving on a 2-way road with no median, you need to stop for a school bus. That's regardless of which direction you're headed. If there's a center turn lane and a school bus comes to a stop, you also need to stop. Same thing if you're on a 4-lane road with no median, stop in any lane you are using. The only time you do not need to stop is when there's a median between a 4-lane road. If you're on the opposite side of the road, you can keep driving.
We've heard a lot lately about artificial intelligence and how it can help you avoid criminals, like protecting your phone and your bank account. It could soon play a big role in the way police do their jobs. Let's connect the dots.
Law enforcement looking to understand how to keep you safe with artificial intelligence. Let's connect the dots. Researchers at North Carolina State are looking at the really unique relationship between police and technology. And experts say officers could play a critical role in this new era of AI. As more cameras and autonomous systems come into play, police have a new role on determining who is responsible. What should happen if a self-driving car gets pulled over for breaking traffic laws? Or how about understanding the limitations of technology like facial recognition that can help stop crime? But here's the problem. Researchers found a lot of North Carolina law enforcement officers don't know how this technology really works. And that can pose a problem in a country that values equal protection under the law. So what can be done? Researchers recommend involving officers in the design and public policy process to really get a true understanding of the technology. And that is connecting the dots.
I'm very fascinated by AI and some of the things that have come out lately. It seems like a really great, cool thing. I'm just concerned about the things that it will eventually be able to do. I've read a report about how AI can write your book report for you, can write a paper for you, and I mean, just do all sorts of things that we really should be doing ourselves.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to everything, especially in this situation. Some of the pros I was reading about was when it comes to paperwork. You know, in police offices, a lot of times it's that physical papers and they go into boxes and they gather dust, but with this they'll be able to share information between different departments, so I think it will just come in handy in that way for sure.
And even just the ability to, I don't know how this fits into AI, but the ability to make it seem as though somebody is saying something they're not saying. Like just changing videos to alter what it looks like somebody is saying. We've seen some of these videos play out through our verify process, where, you know, no, President Trump was not seen doing this. Yes, President Biden did do this, even though it looks like he didn't do this. It's just, it's crazy.
It's very crazy, hard to wrap our minds around sometimes, but technology is interesting. Technology is the future, and it'll be interesting to see what law enforcement specifically does with AI next.
I'm also interested to see how the weather will turn out tomorrow, Tim Buckley.
Well, to answer your question, it's probably not the best. It's not really what we want, but we have some real intelligence here. Not artificial, it's just real. The weather is real too. Temperatures right now a little cool in the 60s. We have clouds, we have a couple of showers. Last couple of days we were mentioning you might find a stray shower. Well, as it turns out, we had more than a couple and still do for the rest of your Friday afternoon. Temperatures right now a little cooler to the north in the mid 50s. 70 though in Pinehurst, so it really does depend on where you are. What's happening is we have warmer and more humid air trying to move in, and that is partly the reason why we're seeing some of this rain developing right now. If you look at our live radar, we'll zoom in up to Rockingham County, some moderate showers there. Guilford County too, same thing over by Winston-Salem, so a little bit more steady rain shaping up for your Friday evening. It's probably best to stay inside if you have outdoor plans for the rest of today. Now on the zoomed out view, you'll notice a lot going on across the country. In fact, severe weather is widespread today from places like Iowa, Illinois, all the way down to Memphis. This is one of the biggest severe weather outbreaks that we have seen potentially in a couple of years. They have a level 5 risk out of those storms. For us, the same system arrives tomorrow, but it will be much weaker. We're not even in that severe weather risk zone for tomorrow, but what we will see will be some rain. That's coming up tomorrow morning. For tonight, the scattered showers are still in the picture, but the main time to watch for your Saturday for rainfall would be between 8 o'clock and around noon. You can see right here, this is kind of 6 a.m. or so. It'll be windy and breezy. The rain will start around 8 o'clock or so. There's 10 o'clock. Notice some of those are downpours and they might feature some thunder. The rain will be done afternoon, and that's when the sun comes out. But even though it's a sunny and warm day for the rest of your Saturday, we will have winds gusting as high as 45 miles per hour. If you remember way back around Christmas time, the first couple of days before Christmas, it was extremely windy. We had some trees down, we had some power outages. That could be the same thing for tomorrow. You'll see right around 5 p.m., we're still gusting around 45 miles per hour or so. So it's a good idea to secure any of those outdoor objects that could blow around, because if they can, they will for tomorrow. I'd go ahead and charge up your devices too, just to be on the safe side in case you lose power.
As we wrap up Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, a Greensboro mother is promoting the inclusion of people of all abilities. Despite a rare genetic disorder, her son has been able to live beyond his life expectancy. She hopes her children's book will provide greater awareness of the disease and some of the challenges people with disabilities face.
He's just done any and everything he could try to do.
Kai Jessup of Greensboro may weigh under 45 pounds.
I make his legs move and everything just so he can make it to first base.
And stand at just 3 feet tall.
This is when I started kind of helping him and helping him here.
But that doesn't stop him from doing what he enjoys most.
Especially when I talk to children, because I like to talk to children and explain about disabilities and talk about Kai. And I'll ask them, do you think Kai can play football? And they're like, no. And then when I say, well, he does. He plays football and basketball and baseball. They're like, really? For real? There's some eyes.
At 2 years old, doctors diagnosed Kai with Hunter syndrome, a rare genetic disorder that has taken his ability to walk, talk, and eat on his own.
20-something years he's been playing baseball now.
His mother, Shelly Mason, says doctors told her he wouldn't live past 10 years old.
He'll be 26 in May, so he's done a lot better than what anybody expected.
We first introduced you to Kai in 2017 when he crossed the stage and graduated from Ragsdale High School.
Get your little water in your system.
Though Kai has accomplished what doctors didn't think was possible, Mason says it wasn't easy.
It was always, difficult for him to have friends, and I see that with a lot of children with different disabilities, even children that have way more skills than him. It's difficult to develop that friendship. He looks a little different, but in some ways we are the same.
Kai's desire for friendship inspired Mason to write her children's book. There's a little boy in my class, but I don't know his name. The book tells the story of a little boy who goes from being curious about the little boy in his class that seems different to the two becoming friends.
A lot of times in the school systems, these children are in separate classrooms, or you might see them here and there, but nobody takes the time to learn their names. They just know them as the child with autism, or the child in a wheelchair, the child that's blind, because I really want to focus on, let's get to know their name and identify them as a human, not just by their disability.
Since the release of her book in 2021, Mason has read to students at summer camps, schools, and churches across the country.
One time I went to a summer camp, and at the end I was signing all the books for the kids, and this little girl said, can you put your phone number in the book? And I was like, you want my phone number? What do you want with my phone number? She's like, so I can call Kai and have a play date. And it just touched my heart. He has 2 hands, 2 feet, and 2 eyes like me.
Kai may not be able to verbally speak for himself, but with each page turned, his mission to educate and promote inclusion continues to be heard.
We're going to keep living. I'm going to keep making sure Kai is doing as much as possible. For as long as he's alive and his eyes are opening, we're going to be getting out into the community.
For more details on where you can grab a copy of Mason's book, just look for this story on our website. And I have 2 copies of the book right in front of me here. This is the hardcover version, and then right here we have the paperback version. So the paperback version just came in a couple days ago, so it has a new cover, and then this was the original book cover as well.
That's great. I love when there are different things that make sure to include everybody.
Yes.
I liked when Dolls came out with dolls that looked different than other kids and just had different abilities. One thing that I really liked about what she said is the importance of not using a disability or something to define a person. My sister works with a lot of kids who have disabilities, and the one thing that I took away from what she has learned in her short time in that field is that you shouldn't refer to someone, like if someone has autism, you shouldn't refer to the person as this is an autistic child.
Yes.
It is a child who is on the autism spectrum.
Absolutely.
It is not a blind person. It is a person who has a vision impairment. So you don't start with their disability, you talk about the person and then say that they have this disability.
Absolutely, and that's why it's so important to start that at a young age. This book here, it's more of a preschool level book. There's rhyming in it, so it's just an easy way to teach children, because let's be honest, we've all been guilty of staring at somebody that looks a little different than us and going, or maybe feeling uncomfortable to approach them. So I think that this is such an important tool that not only children, but adults ourselves can take away from.
That's true, and when you are a child or you're in school setting, this is educational, right? Whether you have students like that in your class already, or maybe you don't yet, you will eventually, and this can help you be a better person, a better friend to them. And this is just such a professional looking book, by the way. I mean, it looks like $1 million.
Yeah, she actually started writing a couple children's books during the pandemic, so she has like a few others, but I mean, the pictures are just gorgeous, very beautiful. I don't know if we could get a tight shot of some of them. And the little boy that's in the wheelchair, he has a name tag that says Kai, so there's Kai featured in the book there. But just a great book. And again, I do have all this information on the web story that I did for this story if you're interested in getting a copy of this book.
Great stuff.
Yeah, that's great. We'll be right back.
One from a group of 4 Labrador sisters is looking for a new home after being adopted late last year and recently returned to the Guilford County Animal Shelter. You may remember last September, a Good Samaritan saw a moving suitcase on the side of the road. They pulled over and to their surprise to find 4 black Labradors. The 4 were soon adopted into their new families, but we received word that Samsonite was returned. If you'd like to meet her, just have to visit the Guilford County Animal Shelter. Oh, so cute. Wow. I remember when we did that story, and I remember how excited we were when they got adopted, and that the owner, they named them all travel-related names, like suitcase and ticket.
I can almost guarantee you Samsonite has already been.
Yeah, I mean,
I was just going to say, she's not going to make it to the end of the story.
She's beautiful, but such a great ending that, you know, she was returned back to the shelter rather than how they were found originally in a suitcase on the side of the road, but she's beautiful.
I'm pretty confident it's going to have a happy ending.
She might already be adopted now as we speak.
Looks like such a sweet dog, and it's still so small, and a lot of people want a puppy to have for the whole life, and they're going to go fast.
Absolutely. All right, y'all, we'll be right back. Stick with us.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here heading into the month of April. Can you believe it? Tomorrow, first day of April, and it will be beginning with some wild weather. We'll have rain, we'll have possibly some thunder as well. That's the first half of the day. The rest of the day turns out to be sunny, warm, but very windy. The wind is the headline here as we go into your Saturday. The rain and storms mostly between 8 and noon. High winds possible really throughout the whole day, but the afternoon and evening, actually around dinner time, could be when it is the windiest around our area, around 45-mile-per-hour gusts. Go ahead, secure the outdoor objects. Make sure you do what you can so that they don't end up down the street. That is something we see a lot around here. Big weather system in the middle of the country right now. It's actually scary to see these levels of severe weather threats on our map. It doesn't happen all that often, but a level 5 and a level 5 risks for those areas. Iowa, Illinois, places like Memphis, Tennessee are all under the gun today. Thank goodness our level is a lot less than that. The threat is not as severe for our area tomorrow. In fact, we're barely even included in any severe weather outlook. We're just mostly looking at the wind and also some rain. We have a wind advisory for all of our area, but the North Carolina mountains have a high wind warning where the winds could be a little bit higher than our area for sure. This is part of a front that'll cross by. The rain threat 8 to noon in the morning. It will be dry and sunny for the afternoon, but as I said, the winds will be very gusty. If you're out and about this evening, by the way, there are some scattered rain showers that we will continue to track for you. It's not super wet, but there are some. Sunday is beautiful, lots of sun, 60s for highs. We'll warm up again heading into next week.
The easiest way to know whether there's rain in the forecast is by using the News 2 app. You can customize alerts for your part of town so you aren't caught without an umbrella. We'll be right back.
It's prom season across the country and it's time to get dressed up. Here in the Triad, and thanks to Camille's Closet and Theo's Threads, that is now an option for even more students. The store's pop-up shop opened to help get teenagers free prom attire. The pop-up helps students from across the Triad. It's open tonight from 11 to 5:30. We do have more information posted on our website, WFMYnews2.com.
In honor of prom season, we asked you on Facebook to tell us your best prom stories. Jamie wrote, ran out of gas.
Oh no.
That's a pretty good one. Kathy said, my date stood me up, so a friend shared her date with me when it was picture time.
Aww.
Jane wrote, my date drove a GTO, which I loved, but prom day, it died, and he picked me up in an old VW with a hole in the passenger floor. I almost cried. I love that we said the best prom
I know.
story.
These are not good.
I know.
They're
I was
not
like,
good
where's the
stuff.
positivity? Did someone get proposed? Like, what's going on?
Shoot, this is these are like prom nightmares.
Yeah. I don't have any prom nightmare stories. Do you guys have any prom nightmare stories? Mine actually went pretty well.
Mine too. My aunt and uncle had a convertible, and so they let me borrow the convertible. And I just thought I was the coolest kid in town, driving around this white convertible with the top down. And like this time of year in Wisconsin, it was cold, but I said, if I have a convertible, we've got to have the top down.
So I went 11th grade and 12th grade year. 11th grade, I did do a limo, pitched in with some friends. 12th grade year, the venue was a little closer to our houses, so we didn't do the limo thing. We all took pictures at my house, then went to dinner. And after prom was what was really fun. It was G-rated, but like basically my friend's mom, they had a movie theater in their house, so her mom ordered pizzas and we watched movies and just had a lot of good fun.
It's pretty nice. I was gonna ask y'all like how fancy were yours, because I went to like a very rural high school in a very small area. Nobody had a limo. I think I drove my dad's like Mercury Sable, which I thought was really cool because it had a sunroof. I was like, this is it wasn't a convertible. But
see, I grew up in a very rural area too, but I was the head of the prom committee, and so I made it very fancy. So we raised all this money for years, and we went out with a bang.
So my 11th grade year, which 11th graders are in charge of the prom, and I was class president at the time, we had ours in Crystal City, so right outside of DC, in a nice hotel. And then my senior year, when the juniors were in charge of the prom, we had it at the administration building. It was very beautiful, but it wasn't what people wanted.
A big
yeah. We were like, boo. No, just playing. It was a great time.
We'll be right back. We've got the Friday vibes here on your 4 to 5. Welcome back. I'm Chad Silbert, Tim Buckley, Lauren Coleman. Nice to have you here.
Hey, everybody. So this weekend is definitely a great weekend to cuddle up on the couch, maybe watch some movies.
Yeah, or hang on to something. If you have to be outside, you got to hang on because it is going to be so windy tomorrow. It really will be very windy. Sunday will be fine, but tomorrow, just blowing around for sure.
His forecast is going to blow you away in just a couple minutes, so stay tuned for that.
I'm not smiling about it. It's not good news, but yes.
All right, well, we are getting new information related to the shooting investigation at Forsyth Tech yesterday. Now, we have video right here of the teenager accused of shooting himself in the hand, which prompted the hours-long lockdown. We were there as Sha'nnon Pitts was leaving court today, where he is facing multiple charges related to yesterday's incident. Police say he had a homemade semi-automatic pistol known as a ghost gun. Investigators say it went off in a bathroom at Forsyth Tech while Pitts was on a field trip there. He is charged with 3 crimes related to having a gun on school property. It's not clear the consequences he's facing related to the school district.
Another big story we are following, this one out of Stokesdale. 6-year-old Jackson Franklin is recovering after he was hit by a car boarding the school bus. This picture was shared with his family's permission on a fundraising site. Troopers said the little boy remains in critical condition, but doctors feel positive about his recovery. Troopers say the driver ignored the school bus lights and stop arm. The North Carolina State Highway Patrol says 47-year-old James Chrisman was charged initially with 2 misdemeanors surrounding this event, including passing a stopped school bus and careless and reckless driving. Investigators also said due to the seriousness of this event, Chrisman will likely face felony charges. Those are just awaiting approval from the DA.
It has been an interesting 24 hours since we learned of the indictment of former President Trump. NYPD says it's on high alert and has put all of its officers ready for deployment. It's the first time in history that a former president will face criminal charges. It's not clear which charges Trump faces. We should learn more next week.
Today, Pope Francis baptized a newborn in the pediatric ward at a hospital in Rome where he is receiving treatment for bronchitis. The Pope appeared in good physical condition and paid visits to young patients, bringing them chocolate eggs and copies of religious children's books. Francis is expected to leave the hospital tomorrow if cleared by doctors. The Vatican says he is scheduled to take part in a Palm Sunday service.
So as we get you ready for your weekend, one thing to point out is kind of what you see is what you get for the rest of today. Yes, it's cloudy. Yes, it's a little damp. There have been some scattered showers. That is going to continue. Weather has been cool, 50s to the north, 70s to the south. We're kind of caught in between. What's happening and why this is happening is we have warmer, more humid air trying to push into the area, and that's just kind of a recipe to create some of the rain that you're seeing right now. A little bit more heavy or at least moderate right now in Caswell County and Rockingham. Guilford kind of on the edge. Forsyth County, some steady showers too. Bottom line, this is going to continue on and off throughout our evening. Some really bad news that we have going on in the middle of the country right now. We've already seen tornadoes on the ground today in places like Arkansas, Iowa, and Illinois. Really bad stuff is happening out that way with a major storm. We're very lucky here. We've been lucky so far the last couple of weeks. This is another case where that storm is going to weaken before moving our way, but we are going to get rain from it. The most likely time for that would be tomorrow morning. Notice 8 and 9 o'clock, we start to see a line pushing through. Some of those downpours tomorrow morning could have thunder, lightning, and very gusty winds. The rain will be done. You can hold me to this. The rain is done by noon tomorrow. We know that. But it's still going to be bad weather the rest of the day. Why? Well, even with sunshine, we're going to have winds that could reach around 40 to 45 miles per hour. That can be enough to blow your car around a little bit on the highway if you're traveling, but also it can snap some trees. So it's possible there could be at least some scattered power outages throughout the day tomorrow. Notice the morning we have wind gusts around 30, but it gets even windier through 5 and 6 o'clock in the evening. That will be when we have gusts around 40 to 45 miles per hour. So things to do, charge up your phone, your iPads, things you want to have around. That's a good idea. Know where the batteries are if you need a power outage, and also secure the outdoor objects. Things like lawn furniture, trampolines, they tend to end up down the street. Trash cans too. Do that today. You'll be prepared for tomorrow.
And that rocky weather forecasted for tomorrow is impacting a big race. The human race has been postponed. Organizers say safety is a priority for participants. They moved the race to Sunday, April 23rd. It'll still happen at LeBauer Park. Gates will open at 2 p.m. and the race is set to start at 3.
But before we get to the weather, let's let the weather that gets too bad, check out the rodeo here in Greensboro. The best of the best will compete to qualify for the richest rodeo in the world, the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas. The rodeo kicks off tonight and tomorrow. Doors open at the Greensboro Coliseum at 6 and showtime is at 7:30. Be sure to plan for traffic and leave early to get good parking.
Carowinds is turning 50 years old, and to celebrate, the park is hosting a week of new rides and attractions. The week will round out with the opening of Aeronautic Landing, inspired by the spirit and adventure of innovation. The official 50th anniversary kicks off tomorrow.
Major League Baseball returned yesterday. All 30 teams played in major matchups. Fans saw changes as the league tries to speed up the game and add more action with new rules. And we're just a week from opening day for some of our local baseball teams. The Winston-Salem Dash will hit the road for their first game next Thursday. Their home opener is April 11th. The Greensboro Grasshoppers open the season next Friday. Their home opener is April 18th.
Tickets for the High Point Rockers go on sale today under a special promotion. The Rockers annual Whether or Not promotion discounts all single game tickets based on the official temperature in High Point at 7 a.m. So for example, today the temperature was 50 degrees, so that led to a 50% discount on tickets. The Final Four teams are ready to play tomorrow night. Florida Atlantic takes on San Diego State at 6:09 p.m. Then it's Miami and UConn after that. You can watch both of those games right here on WFMY tomorrow night. We will also air the national championship game next Monday. But first, the women's Final Four is happening tonight. LSU and Virginia Tech are up at 7, followed by Iowa and South Carolina. I love the Final Four. I love the Final Four. I love the Final Four.
Love the Final
yes,
Four.
And I love it this year because there are 3 teams that have never been to the Final Four.
Always cheering for the underdog. Do you guys have a certain team that you're hoping takes it all?
I have a contrarian opinion here. I love the upsets in the tournament, but when it gets down to it,
you want the historically good ones.
I kind of want to see the best teams playing against each other.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Florida Atlantic is not one of the best teams in the country. They just don't really sound like it, and they've earned their right there, and I'm fine with that, and it's fun. But
does it just take the excitement out of it because you're so used to certain teams that you usually would normally cheer for?
I mean, if it's a high-level game, it's a high-level game.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. I hope it's not a blowout, right?
Yeah.
I hope it's competitive. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
And the way that I feel about it is, first, this is a selfish reason. If it's not a team that I care about, then I want it to be something crazy, right? So,
sure.
I mean, like it wasn't, Duke, Carolina, NC State, UNC Greensboro, UNC Asheville, Wake Forest. Since it was none of them, I'm like, you know what? Let's just see how crazy we can get.
Yeah. But a nail biter is always a better game.
I always prefer a close game. If I don't care, I want it to be close.
Right.
And it's weird. We don't even really have the David and Goliath here because you have FAU on one side and San Diego State. They're playing each other.
Lots of
then
Davids.
you have the other big boys playing each other. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
We'll just have to see.
And it's all on our air, so make sure you watch it tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be right back.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together like a classic. happiness. Do you know what it looks like? Let me tell you what it looks like. It looks like this right here. The delight of knowing that you found the golden egg. For years, we hid Easter eggs, but there, of course, was just one golden egg full of the money and the candy. It is the bomb diggity of all eggs. Now, I love the fun and the surprise of the golden egg so much. I hide them everywhere in the decor of my house. I mean, some of them you can easily see, some of them you really gotta like look for and spot. To me, that's like what makes the golden egg fun. Were you ever quick enough to find the golden egg?
I don't have any memories that come top to mind of finding the golden egg.
And this might shock you, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
What?
When there's an Easter egg hunt, isn't one of them always gold and there's like more
I've never-
candy?
It's like-
or there's like
it's like
$100
BB
inside.
Yes!
Yeah, I remember going to the YMCA after school for after school care and there being a golden egg and there was like $20 in it or something.
I didn't have a golden egg either.
No?
No, I didn't.
So they were
Or
watching
maybe
this
I
story.
just never found
they were
it.
looking at this like, what
Wow.
is she talking about? No, just kidding.
Interesting. Okay. So egg hunts often have a lot of rules, right? What you can get, you can only pick up specific ones in a specific color or how many you can do. Yes?
I always like the ones when I found like a dollar bill folded up inside of it.
Okay.
Yes, my grandmother had a specific way that she would do the egg hunt. And they were with real eggs that had been dyed. And when she would dye them, she would kind of etch the grandkid's name on the egg.
Oh,
so
sweet.
for me, there were 2 eggs somewhere in the house that had Tim on them.
I
My
see.
brothers had Mike and vice versa.
Right.
You had to get your own. You couldn't get anyone else's.
So if you saw somebody else's egg, you just were quiet and you just went on by.
That's right.
That
Okay.
makes it even more challenging.
And then here's my next thing. Is it plastic eggs or real eggs?
So we changed to plastic eggs in the house because you know of a disaster when you don't find all the eggs.
That
And then
it
you
always
smell
happens,
Yes.
right? It only has to happen once for you to be like, ooh.
I've only played with plastic eggs. Now, I've dyed eggs just for fun, but we've only had scavenger hunts with the plastic ones.
Okay.
If it's inside, plastic is the way to go.
Yeah.
Because, like Chad said, we didn't always find them all
Y'all
at
are probably
Grandma's
like,
house.
what is that smell?
And it's a
Tim,
bad
what did you do?
smell, isn't
People are
it?
probably looking at you like, Tim, what did you do?
Sorry, Grandma.
And even outside, we had plastic too because we usually had to find them in the snow because we'd always have. I mean, they're getting a foot and a half of snow today, so I mean, like there's always snow around.
Cannot even imagine that.
No, we just did it inside.
Oh, and see, we just did it outside
But
because it's
money
full.
inside
Yeah,
the
I've only done
plastic
it
eggs.
outside.
Money
Yeah.
inside the plastic eggs. All right. So the thrill of the hunt, there is really nothing like it. The egg hunts really start this weekend, but this is video from last year. I just love an egg hunt. Super fun, right? There are hunts all over the Triad this weekend and next. WFNY News 2 has a list of hunts for you to do. So you can look at the list by simply texting the word egg, E-G-G, to the number on your screen, 336-379-5775. When you text the word egg to the number, you're going to get the list right to your phone.
Looks like so much fun. So we reached out to you through Facebook to find out your favorite family Easter traditions. Vicky Ziegler wrote, Holy Week leading up to Easter Sunday, celebrating He is risen with our family. Maureen says, when I was a child in New Jersey, they had a parade on the boardwalk in Atlantic City where we would show off our Easter bonnets. I'm sure they don't do that anymore, but back in the day, it was quite the thing. Kim says early service at church following by breakfast and then a worship service with the choir presenting an Easter cantata. Later on, a big midday meal with the family. Bobby Bennett, Easter sunrise service and to Grandma's house for Easter Sunday dinner. And then Steve Gardner says playing trumpet at the sunrise service. My parents had us go to the sunrise service every single year.
I know you like the sunrise service.
I do,
too.
and I really like it at Old Salem. Right, the Old Salem sunrise service is absolutely beautiful. They have all of the horns and all of that kind of stuff. It's just really pretty.
When I was a kid, we used to go to church early and then go over to the grandparents, do the Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
But always my favorite part was my parents dressed my sisters identical, even though they weren't twins, and they both hated it.
Really?
And I loved it because they'd be so mad.
For some reason, Easter does seem like one of the holidays where you get the fanciest outfits. for the
Yes,
kids.
absolutely.
Even more so than Christmas,
Oh, for
because
sure.
most everybody is going to a service, and the kids are, at least me and my brother too, we were so grumpy about it. So there are pictures of us being grumpy in our little suits that we never wore.
Easter dresses were huge in our house, and I remember as a little girl the night before, my mom pressing my hair to wear it straight and put curls in it, and we just got really, really dressed up. We would go to the sunrise service, go back and have like brunch, and then we would have a bigger meal later in the day.
I would have been so grumpy if I was made to go to the sunrise service as a kid.
Oh, that's why I said we always went to this, because you have to get up really, really early.
With the sunshine. When I worked in Wilmington, I used to love this because sometimes I'd be working on the Sunday, but you go cover the sunrise service and it's at the beach.
At the beach, which is
And we
great.
right on the sand and
Yes.
you see it, and that's just a nice way to start the day.
Beautiful. Whatever you do, enjoy.
Next week.
Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4. How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow?
The popular game Tetris has a movie of its own on Apple TV+. Our movie critic Manning Franks has a preview, so you know what to expect ahead of building your own opinion.
I'm almost certain that you've heard of Tetris, right? The 8-bit worldwide phenomenon that took the globe by storm, from the UK to Japan to America to even its birthplace, Russia. But not just any Russia, Cold War Soviet Union Russia. So the question remains, what on earth is the history of this game, and why did it almost involve the jailing and arrest of its creator? Well, listen up. Because sometimes fact is stranger than fiction.
It's poetry, art, and math all working in magical synchronicity. It's the perfect game. Tetris?
Tetris.
Tetris. Tetris.
Tetris. I don't get it.
During the waning years of the Cold War, Alexei Pajitnov, a lowly computer programmer from the Soviet Union, creates an explosive video game called Tetris. Yet as communism still reigns within the country, its legality is in question. That is, until American businessman Hank Rogers decides to risk it all by going behind the Iron Curtain to hopefully win the game's rights. A true task that was easier said than done. Usually, historical dramas and biopics will fall into the trap of monotony and sameness. Aha, but Tetris spins the genre's building blocks on its head to craft a clever, dramatic thriller. Tetris could have gone the way of a stuffy historical biopic, but instead we are gifted a fun play upon this specific class of film whose pixels proudly pack both style and substance, while never sacrificing the weight behind the actual backdrop. It succeeds the most when it embraces its 8-bit origins, which, honestly, the one critique, it could have been woven in a bit further. The star of Tetris, Taron Egerton, is easily one of the most versatile and exciting young actors working today, and his role as Hank Rogers merely adds to that ever-expanding portfolio. He radiates effortless charisma as he takes the audience on this journey that mixes in the trappings of a political spy thriller to this real-life legal battle. Egerton, along with some great supporting turns and killer editing, make this drama, like the game Tetris itself, a block above the rest. While the film lacks the revolutionary novelty of the titular game, no one will be bursting down the digital doors for this film. Tetris still towers above similar biopic competition for its earnest and offbeat storytelling. I mean, honestly, the real-life tale is just so darn fascinating that it would behoove you to give it a watch. I'm giving Tetris a 2 approved. You can watch it only on Apple TV+.
Cool. Looks good.
It actually is surprisingly good. You don't really, I mean, obviously, sometimes movies will fall from the cracks or fall down the cracks. Yeah. This is one that I would encourage you all to go out and see only because, again, you can watch it at home on Apple TV+, and it's kind of a really enjoyable thriller with some comedic elements.
And everyone loves Tetris. We were just talking about it while I was playing. I said I remember playing it on PlayStation growing up and just playing it for hours trying to get to that next level.
I just wouldn't ask any of the Gen Zers in the newsroom if they knew what Tetris was.
Yeah, they might not
Should we
know.
do that? Yeah, I'll make that a segment.
If I can date myself, I used to play Tetris on an arcade machine at our local Pizza Hut.
Oh, wow.
So they used to have video games, you remember, at the Pizza Hut.
Yes.
And, you know, Pac-Man was there and so was Tetris. It was a fun game.
See, it is still a fun game. I have it on my phone now. I still play it sometimes just because actually this movie actually got me excited to go see it or to play it again.
It's a good mind game, too.
It is. You gotta think.
Tim, did you also get the Book It award while you were at? That's why you were at the Pizza Hut,
Book
right?
it. I remember Book it.
Bringing that back.
Grab yourself a personal pan pizza and listen to my forecast. Here we go. We're getting you ready for the weekend, everybody. And tomorrow is one of those days you got to be a little weather aware. We're talking about a few hazards. One of those would be rain and some thunder, mainly between 8 and noon in the morning. And then throughout the whole day, morning, midday, even evening, we're going to have high winds up to 45 miles per hour. So that's something to really keep an eye on. Things could be blowing around tomorrow and might even have a couple of power outages. We have a really strong weather system in the middle of the country that's been creating tornadoes and thunderstorms in Arkansas. Hearing of some bad damage too. We'll have more on that for you coming up on the evening newscast around the Little Rock area specifically. Also places like Peoria, Illinois, Iowa having big problems with tornadoes today as well. For us, thank goodness, there is no threat of tornadoes tomorrow, but we will have that rain and storm threat early in the morning and then high winds that honestly will get worse as the sun comes out. It's strange how that works, but that's what I'm expecting for tomorrow afternoon and for tomorrow evening, a high wind concern. A little bit of a zoomed in view of your radar for tomorrow, by the way. This is around 6 in the morning. There's 8 and 9 o'clock, and then by lunchtime, we're starting to see this move away. That's 11 a.m. and then by 1, all of the rain will be over. But again, be ready for the rain and for the wind. We will have those gusts pretty high all day long. It won't be until Sunday that the wind starts to return to normal. Keep your devices charged. Could have some power outages. We'll have the next update at 5 o'clock.
Apple IIe computer.
Oh, that's what you played it on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we had it on PlayStation.
Oh, goodness.
Hey Brad, mic check 1, 2, 3. Apple IIe, floppy disks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Brad, 1, 2, 3. Triad high school student accused of firing a gun at Forsyth Tech. Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
Check, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Sha'nnon Pitts, hours-long lockdown, accused of.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
March is coming to an end, and so is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. It's the time to raise awareness and funds to fight the horrible disease with events like the Get Your Rear in Gear 5K in Winston-Salem last weekend. It's also a time to educate. There are a lot of myths out there, like only people with a family history can get it. Not true. In fact, 75% of new cases are patients with no known risk factors. I was part of that 75%. This time last year, I was undergoing chemotherapy after I was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. I have no family history, no risk factors, no symptoms, nothing. I only learned about my cancerous tumor because I got a routine colonoscopy, thanks to the urging of my husband. I've shared my journey so you can avoid what I went through. Most colon cancer cases are preventable with screenings. Thank goodness I got tested when I did because the cancer was very close to spreading to other major organs. Getting tested saved my life. My mission is the same during remission. I will continue to encourage you to get tested starting at the recommended age of 45. That's been my message during the month of March, and it will be every month. And that's my 2 cents. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.